Right, don't know if this mic or whatever is going to be sounding alright, but hello and welcome to another Connor's Crazy Countdown. It's been a little bit. In this episode, I'm going to be rating Walking Dead characters. Can I get this bigger? Okay, so I'm going to be rating Walking Dead characters. We've either got legend, awesome, alright, meh, or awful. If I put them in legend, I'm not necessarily putting them in there because they're a good person. So for instance, I could put a really bad person in there, but they were a legend as a character, if that makes sense. Same as awful, you could think it's the nicest person ever, but they might be down here just because they're terrible. First character we've got is Andrew. Now, I'm giving you a heads up, there'll be spoilers and things. So if you've not played any of the game and you want to see it, either go to my channel and watch it, or go somewhere else, or play it for yourself. But anyways, this is Andrew. Now, the group that we play as in Season 1 ends up coming to a farm where Andrew, his mum, and his brother own. And Andrew is like the sociable one, I'd say. He's the one that greets them, he's the one that talks to them a lot. But the three of these people have a really dark secret, so these guys turn out to be not so nice guys. They are cannibals, so it's quite a rough time. And as a bad guy, this guy's actually quite alright, I think. He's not an amazing character by any means. Maybe top of meh, actually. He's not that memorable. Well, he is and he isn't. I'd put him between these two. If there was another thing here, then I'd put it here, but this is where he's going. Okay, next we've got Ben. Now, Ben is quite a vital character in Season 1, and this is also dependent on my choices, so there's a lot of different aspects to the game that could happen if you make different decisions. So I'm saying it as what I remember my playthrough was. So in my playthrough, Ben ended up needing rescued from Kenny, and Kenny ended up disappearing. Ben ended up dying, but I can't really remember. It's been a long time since I played the game, but Ben he let us down on many occasions. He had sold drugs or something to an enemy camp. There was a lot of things, but Kenny in the end did forgive him. He tried to save Ben. He was alright. He was just a teenager, right? So he didn't quite know what he was doing. I think he was alright. He was not a good guy by any means. He let us down on so many occasions, but as a character, he was alright. Next, we've got Boyd. This is a minor character in Season 1, as far as I remember. He was also in the next game that came out, which was a mini game. He was just a cancer surviving patient or something. So there was a doctor in his group. He's a very minor character, so he doesn't really say or do much, so he's meh. Next, this is the mother of Andrew and the other guy that we'll get to eventually. This is Brenda, and she is a one nasty lady. So like I said, they're cannibals, and she is just, she is nasty. Can't really say much more about her. Next, now this is probably one of my least favourite characters in the whole series. This is Bree. I don't not like her because of the way she looks like that. I just hate her attitude and the way she behaved towards people, and she was just overall an awful character. I mean, eventually she died anyway, so it's not like we kept her, but she just wasn't very likeable at all. It was all about her. It was she didn't want to help anybody, so I'm putting her in awful. I mean, eventually she did help out a little bit, but it was very brief. Next, we've got Carly, which was kind of almost like the love interest of Lee, the character we played as in Season 1. She was a very good character. I think she was an investigator in her past life. I might be wrong, I can't really remember. But at one point in the game, you had to make a choice whether you save Carly or you save Doug. And I chose to save Carly, which is the better option in my opinion, but she had an awful ending where Lily did nasty things to her, but she is awesome. Actually, I think she was a legend. Like, if she continued in the game, she would have been a great asset. She would have been awesome. She would have been good with Clementine. Just would have been great. Next, we've got Krista. Krista is a bit of both. Like, she's very bad in a lot of assets, and she's very good in a lot of aspects. Like, she wasn't very nice to Clementine the whole time she really knew her, and she kept giving Lee a hard time on telling her how he should be raising Clementine, even though like she had no kids of her own. Although she was eventually going to have one, but that never worked out. She came off on the wrong foot to begin with, and then she eventually just had a bad time. I'm going to put her in all right though. Like, she was not my favourite character by any means, but it's still sad when you lose somebody like that. Next, we've got Chuck. Now, Chuck was only in season 1 for a little bit, but his time was epic. Like, he saved the group we were with on multiple occasions with his shovel, I think it was. He hit them in the head and all that. He sacrificed himself. He was great in so many aspects. And he was just a homeless guy to begin with. Like, he didn't have anybody, so he was gifted with this group of people that kept him, made him happy. You know, he was a very nice character. I liked Chuck. Next, does this character need any introduction? This is basically like the main character of the whole series. Now, in season 1, we did not play as this character. We only got introduced to her and then we continued. So, this is Clementine. The best thing about Clementine is like her what do you call progress. So like season 1 she was very scared, she didn't know what to do. Season 2 she was still learning a bit, but she was actually more capable of a lot of things. Season 3, which was kind of a waste. Season 3 was very disappointing because you didn't get to play as Clementine. Even though she was still alive, she was still around, you didn't get to play for her. And then season 4, what a hero. Like, the amount of things she did, how she raised AJ and all that, she was just, there's no doubt about it. This is the most legendary of legendary characters. Like, without her there would be no, like, this game would be terrible basically. She is The Walking Dead. Next, we've got Clive, another cancer survivor and patient that is just a side character that doesn't really bring much, and he was in the second expansion game. Right. Next, we've got Danny. Danny is the brother of Andrew and the son of Brenda. So again, he is probably the worst of the 3 of these guys. Like, no, I mean, she's horrible, but she's horrible in a badass, nasty way, if you know what I mean. This guy was just ringing of evil. This guy you could talk to, but this guy, he's going as far down there. He's still in this, but I didn't like him. Now, here we go. This is Doug. So this was the other choice between Carly and Doug. Doug was a very minor character. You didn't really get much from him at all. He's going in meh. Like, really not much to say about him. I can't honestly remember anything he told me. Now, here is Duck. A lot of people, I think, quite hate Duck because of the amount of problems that he caused throughout the whole thing. And I mean, the reason he got bit in the first place was his own fault. But it was very sad. Like, this, so if you don't know the context, Duck is Kenny's son, Kenny and Katja's son, and Kenny is like another big main character in the series. But Duck, it was a sad outcome, and it was like the first, I think it was the first, well, no, we had Carly before that, but this was like the first character that we'd been with for a very, very long time or something. I don't know, but it was the first heartbreaking loss that we had, so I'm going to put him in awesome, right? He's not a legend, but he is awesome. Now, this is a character that I kept getting confused by. This is Glenn. So, there's 2 characters that are Chinese, alright, but they look very similar. And I thought Vince and I thought Glenn were the same person. So, when I saw Vince was in the next game, I was like, oh, Glenn survived. Glenn was with our group for a while, and then I think he had left to go and find stuff or something, and then he never came back. It's a hard time to remember, or he went off in his own way. That's what I think. So there's always the potential he could have come back. He never did, though. But there's Vince there. See, I thought they were the same person. But anyways, Glenn was alright. I liked Glenn. Now this is Herschel. So this is like one of the first characters we meet aside from Lee and Clementine. Um, this is way, way back at the start, so I don't remember a lot of it. I just remember he kept giving Lee a hard time. He was quite mean to him, but Duck had caused an issue as well. I think it was a choice made bit where you save his son or you save Duck, and I think I chose to save Duck or something. There was a whole thing, so he kept giving it a hard time. I'm not overly fond of this character. Yeah, he goes meh. He's not awful, but he's meh. Right, this is Katja, or however you pronounce it. So this is Duck's mum and Kenny's wife, or first wife. And she was an alright character. Like, she did her role, she played her thing. I think she was a vet, so she kind of posed as like the group's doctor in a sense. And she did her best, and she was very nice. She was a lovely character towards the majority of the characters. Even Lily, like, she was nice to everybody as far as I'm aware. She was alright. Um, I can't, like, I know she died. Like, I know for a fact that. Oh yeah, so she didn't die of a bite. She died because Duck died. It was just too heartbreaking for her. At least that's what I remember. So she had a lot to her, a lot of levels to this character. Okay, next we've got Kenny, the legend that is Kenny. Now, aside from Lee and aside from Clementine, I love Kenny. Kenny is like one of my favourite characters. So anytime there was a choice to go with Kenny, anytime there was a choice to save Kenny, anytime there was a choice to be with Kenny, I would always have taken that. Like, Kenny was my man. Like, when I saw him come back in season 2, I was crying. I was so happy to see him. And then towards the end of season 2, you had to make a choice whether you went on your own, you went with Jane, or you went with Kenny. I chose to go with Kenny, and what a choice. Like, he brought so much. It was so sad in season 3 where he was just like kind of thrown away. At least we still got sort of time with him, but there's no doubt about it, he is a legend. I love his voice, I love everything about him, his whole fishing background, just everything about him I love. Now we've got the complete opposite of the scale here. We've got Larry. Now Larry was Lily's father, and he never liked anybody. He was so mean, he was so angry all the time. I never saw him smile, I never saw him be nice to anybody. I also think he was a racist, so he was quite mean towards Lee. There's no doubt about it, but he was a very good bad guy in a sense. I hated him, so he's going down here. Like, oh, he was just a horrible guy. And then it came to like the chance where we had to save him or whatever, and Kenny, I think, had made the choice to kill him because he was going to turn. But oh, just an awful guy. And once again, complete opposite, this is Lee. So Lee is our main guy in the season 1. We play as Lee right from the start. Now, Lee has so many levels to him. So when we first start the game, we're introduced to Lee, and he's in the back of a cop car. So initially you think this guy is a really bad guy, and what he did was horrendous. But then we go through the game and you learn more about why he's done it and all other sorts, and it's just... And in a sense, he's redeemed himself because he's become a true hero in the group. He looks after Clementine, he looks after everybody else in the group. He even helps Larry out when he can, even though Larry absolutely hates him. But he's just so nice all the way through, and it was so sad what happened to him. If you've not played it, this is the one thing I'm not going to say, but I think you can probably guess anyways. But it's just so sad what happens to him. But there's no doubt about it. Awesome hero. Anybody that has played this game knows who this guy is, and they love this guy. This guy is a legend beyond all belief. And once again, we're going to the opposite end of the scale, but this time, this one kind of goes a bit further up. So Lily, Larry's daughter, also was very mean towards Lee. But at the same time, when she was in charge of like leading the group, she actually did kind of a good job for a while, until they got on the road and she had a meltdown and she turned against Carly, and it was just horrible. And then by that point, we had got rid of Lily. Now, playing through like season 2 and season 3, you never thought Lily would return, right? It was done for. She was never coming back. But then season 4, what an epic return. There she was. She brought a great aspect to it, and what a great bad character to have. What a great enemy to have in season 4. For that reason, I think she was awesome to have that comeback. I don't think she's awesome for what she's done or how she behaves or how nice she is, but she's awesome for her comeback in a sense. Okay, now this is Mark. Mark was in our group in season 1. I don't remember a whole lot to him. I just remember he was quite a nice guy. He always had Lee's back, and we got along with him fine, so I can't honestly go into depth about this guy, so he's going in alright. Now, Molly here, there's season 1 as well. Now, when I saw Jane, so this is Jane here, when I saw her, I thought it was the same person for a while. I know they don't look anything alike, but I sort of thought they were the same. I think they're two very similar characters, so they're both like loners in a sense, and they both protect whatever, they both do stuff. But Molly was from, I don't know, was it called Washington? Or she was from this place where I think the cancer survivors, yeah, they had come from as well. But she was like something, I was about to say she's like something from a video game, so everybody else seems like a real person, but she seems like a made up person. Like, if you've ever played Overwatch or whatever, she's like Genji, or she's like Hanzo. She climbs walls and shoots arrows and she does all this, like, she's just interesting. She was a decent, alright character, and probably the top as well, yeah. I wouldn't say she was that amazing. She was just an interesting addition to the team. Okay, now we've got a more comedic character here. This is Omid, whatever. So we meet Omid and Krista much later on in the game. So Krista and Omid, they were a couple, and they were going to have a baby together, but obviously that didn't work out. But anyways, Omid was a very good character, and I really liked him. He was always funny. Like, Krista was hard. Krista was never taking any crap from anyone, but he literally, he would make jokes whenever he could. He was funny. He was just an all-round good character, so he's going in awesome. He was always likable. Like, even when he was in pain, he was making jokes. This is Roman. I have no memory of this character, but I think he was in season 1. I believe he's in season 1. A very minor side character that I can't remember much about, so he's going here. Okay, this is Sean. So this is Herschel's son. So again, like Mark, he's a very likable guy. Again, I can't remember a whole lot about him, but the whole time I remember, from what I can remember, the whole time I was with him, he was just nice to us, so he was an alright character. Now, I don't think this character has a name, as far as I'm aware. I looked it up and I just came across Stranger. So this is Stranger. So in season 1, this is like the total bad guy. Like, this is like the main overlord in a sense. So at one point in the game, the group that I'm with comes across a car that has food in it, it has clothes in it, it has a lot of things in it, and the group has to decide whether they take from it or they don't take from it. In my playthrough, Lee and Clementine decided not to take from it, which I think is obviously the better choice, because look where it ended up as. But the rest of the group did take from it, and this guy saw that as Clementine and Lee had done it, so he decided to kidnap Clementine. And he's very mysterious and evil. I think he had a son or something that died, but he had a wife, and he had the wife's head in his bag. So he's a very creepy, weird guy. I don't know where I'd put him though, because he's not awful. Like, he's not a bad character. He's not really a bad character either, but I don't know where I'd put him. I think I'm going to put him in. I'm going to put both of these guys up here, because she is awful. Like, I hate her as a character. Like, he's awful too, but he's meh because he's a decent bad guy. Okay, this is the doctor. So this guy's name is Vernon. So the cancer survivor group has this guy as their doctor, and he used to be part of this group. I don't know if Bree was his daughter or something, but Bree had a really big connection to him. He was an alright character. He did his job. He was just there, and he saved Omid's life, so he's alright for that. I think Meh is becoming madly overfilled. Okay, now that's all the characters from season 1, I think. These characters are from season 1.1. Like, what I mean is they are the expansion for season 1. Bonnie should be there too. I'll add her later. She's down here somewhere. But I, I, I wouldn't say I hated this game, but this game just... These characters are not very likable or memorable or anything. I don't like Becca. Becca was annoying from what I remember. So she's... I don't like her. This guy, I have no memory of really. Danny, he was the guy on a bus who was in jail. So he's awful. D, really don't like D. D had a thing for Leland. Leland, who was a love interest of Bonnie too. That's Leland there. I didn't like her. What's this guy? Eddie. Eddie. So this is like Eddie and Wyatt. They were like something from Wayne's World or something. They were just weird. Don't like him. There's maybe one or two that I do like from this game, but no, I don't like him either. This guy's name was Justin. Again, don't like him. Leland, don't like him. Nate, don't like him. I kind of like Russell a little bit more. Russell's meh. So Russell meets Nate in a car or while he's traveling, and he's a grumpy teen in a sense. I prefer this character. Like, she's a little bit more decent. This is Shell, who's Becca's sister, I think. I like her a bit more. I don't think I'm changing these. No, I don't know. I really, really don't like Rebecca. No, Stephanie. Really don't like Stephanie. Now, Tavia has a minor role again. She basically groups all these people, or a lot of these people together, and they eventually become like the bad guys of season 2, which is kind of surprising because Tavia, from what I saw in this, she seemed like a nice person, but she's meh. She has a decent role, a bigger role in season 2. This is Vince. I do like Vince. Vince is alright. Actually, yeah, Vince is alright. Vince is a cool character, and his whole story in it was decent enough. Wyatt, nah. Wyatt, I prefer Wyatt to Eddie, so he's there. And you can see him in season 2 as well of my playthrough, I think. So as far as what I remember, him, her, him, I don't know, he died. I don't think any of these other people. And where is she? Right, you as well. Bonnie is a little bit more alright, because she has a lot more story. I don't like her overly much, but as far as her story goes and her interactions with the characters is decent. Like, she starts out as a nasty character that you don't really like, and then she ends up being quite decent, but then she turns out being mean again. Like, she's got a roller coaster of a story, and it's quite cool to experience. Okay, now we're on to season 2. So season 2, we're starting with Alvin. So Alvin is the name of Alvin Jr. This is where Alvin Jr. gets his name from. This is his dad, but he's not actually his dad, but he's like his stepdad, you know. The whole time that we knew Alvin never really did any bad by Clementine, at least as far as I remember. He was an alright, nice guy the whole way through, and he had to put up with Rebecca as well. Rebecca was like, awful for a lot of the game. But I do really like Alvin. He was a nice character. Now this is Arvo, who is, would I say he's a bad guy? Like, he doesn't really have any redeeming features in a sense. Like, the whole time we're with him, he's quite nasty, but he does give us shelter briefly before betraying us or something. He's just I don't really like him. No, I think I'm putting him down here. I don't like him. Uh, I, okay, now we've got Carlos. So he's the doctor of this group in season 2. There's two sides to him. He's nice most of the time, but I mean when we first met him, he didn't. He was going to treat Clementine because Clementine had been bit, but he didn't trust it, and he, instead of like just cleaning it, instead of helping in that sense, he locked Clementine in a shed and let see if she would turn. Eventually, yes, he did help her in the end, but the way he treats Sarah as well, he's like very overprotective of her and not giving her a lot of space to grow. So he's, I think he's the top of he's alright. He's alright, yeah. Okay, Carver. Now, this is the main bad guy of season 2, William Carver, I think his full name is. He is a great bad guy. Like, it's mysterious. Like, we're first introduced to him when he comes to the cabin where the group has been staying, and it's just Clementine there to greet him. So she has no idea who he is, but we get a weird introduction to him. And he's like, I'm looking for a group of this many people, and then he comes across a picture of Sarah, that's another person from the group, and he's like, who's this? And he's just very mysterious and very interesting, and then eventually we do end up going to his hideout and all sorts and spending time with him. Would I say he's awesome? I think I would. I think as a bad guy he was pretty awesome. Now this is an extremely minor character, like I might as well have not put on her. So this is Edith. Now this is the guard at the gate of, I can't even remember the name of the place, but it was a Washington, I think it is again. I just keep saying Washington like it's the actual place. So it's a place that Kenny and Clementine, at least in my playthrough, were heading to, and I think there's playthroughs of it where you can go into the camp, but it's just Clementine, and she's a much bigger character then. But in this playthrough, she was very minor, but she really helped out us, so she's meh. Like, there wasn't a lot to her. Like, we spent more time than, yes, but okay. Now this is a character I both sort of like and really hate. So this is Jane. Now Jane taught us one or two new things to help us in our ability and whatever else, but she and Kenny, it was just awful to experience how mean she was to Kenny and how mean she was to a lot of other people. But she was like, she's not a group person, she's a loner, so she's all about her in a sense. Like, she doesn't care much about what's happening with the group and all this sort. As a character though, she was alright. Anyways, I'm going to end this first half here because this is going on far too long. Join me when we continue Season 2, Season 3 and Season 4. I hope to make only 2 episodes of this, but anyways, hope you enjoyed this episode, and until next time on whatever I do, bye!